And at number 10, Lindsay Lohan. While Jennifer Lawrence was on The Late Show with Stephen Colbert to promote a movie in 2015, Lawrence offended Lindsay Lohan and her family. It started when Lawrence was talking about how she got a stomach virus while filming, but she still kept shooting. Then she made the comment, quote, "I get like Lindsay Lohan grade exhaustion, but without any drugs or alcohol." And obviously, even though we assumed she was joking, those kind of words will start a fight. Almost right after the show aired, Lohan's younger sister, Elena, tweeted out, quote, "I never breathe life into negativity, but I stand by my family. Disappointed in Jennifer Lawrence. Not cool." Lindsay Lohan then replied to that tweet saying, quote, "Thank you, sister. Maybe who you're referring to should learn to support others like Maya Angelou." Lohan's mom also commented on the incident weeks later, so it's safe to say the family does not have a good opinion of Jennifer Lawrence. And at number 9, Jared Leto. Jared Leto thinks that Jennifer Lawrence's niceness is all an act. The rift between them started at the 2014 Oscars, when Jennifer was walking up to the stage after she won an award. Leto and some other people started laughing. Then Lawrence started asking, what is it? What's funny? Apparently what was happening is that the host of the show, Ellen DeGeneres, was miming "Don't Fall," because this was the year after Jennifer's famous fall, and Leto and his family were laughing. Then Leto was asked about her earlier, more famous fall, and he said, quote, "I'm starting to wonder if this is a bit of an act." He said it in a joking manner, but we know there's always a hint of truth in jokes like that. And at number 8, Chloe Sevigny. Chloe Sevigny has been open about her dislike of Jennifer Lawrence. When Sevigny was being interviewed by V Magazine in 2015, she was asked if she has any fears of being typecast. She replies that she does, and ranted about how the industry is all about marketing over talent, saying, quote, "So much is about marketing and selling the product. They'll have a really peppy, funny girl on the talk show rounds, and everybody adores her and loves her and wants to be her or sleep with her. And then so many more people want to watch the movie or TV show." And even though she seems to hint at Lawrence, she didn't name her specifically. However, later when she was asked about women that she admired, Sevigny said Angelina Jolie and Emma Stone, but she said she could do without Jennifer Lawrence, adding, quote, "Jennifer Lawrence I find annoying, too crass." And at number 7, Kim Kardashian. After Jennifer Lawrence interviewed Kim on the Jimmy Kimmel Show, I thought they were the best of friends, with them talking about how Jennifer came over for dinner and got her mother Kris absolutely wasted. But it seems that Kris has been giving Jennifer a little too much attention, and Kim has started to get jealous. A source told Radar Online in December 2017 that Kim had enough of Jennifer. Kim reportedly went into a, quote, "jealous rage" over the close relationship her mom had developed with Lawrence, because, quote, "Kim was always Kris's favorite until Jennifer crashed the scene." The source added, quote, "Jennifer's definitely on the VIP invite list for her annual holiday party, so Kim's dreading Jennifer stealing the show. The sunshine walks with Jennifer in Kris's eyes. Kim is fed up and doesn't know what to do." And honestly, I'm not sure how much I believe this source, because I don't think that Kris and Jennifer spend enough time together for anyone in the family to actually get jealous, but it's definitely an interesting rumor. And at number 6, Lala Kent. Jennifer Lawrence stirred up a ton of drama with reality star Lala Kent during her appearance on Watch What Happens Live with Andy Cohen. It started when Andy was asking Jennifer what she thought of the cast of Vanderpump Rules. When the conversation went to Lala, Lawrence straight up called her the C word, the see you next Tuesday word, along with tons of other digs at her. As a response, Lala later tweeted out, quote, "Did Jennifer Lawrence really call me the C word on Watch What Happens Live and talk about my mama? You better pray I don't see you in the streets." And that was just the first of a long string of now deleted tweets. The shade did not stop there. Lala went on the Juicy Scoop podcast via 2Fab and called out Jennifer further. She said that Jennifer had, quote, 2 failed films in a row, and said she was the type of girl that would sleep with Harvey Weinstein for a role. Lawrence never responded to any of the shade, but Lala still brings it up anytime she's asked about Jennifer Lawrence.
Ashanti. While Jennifer Lopez has landed herself several platinum-selling hits since her rise to fame with her debut album, she is no stranger to causing controversy regarding how she ends up getting her songs. While Ashanti has never openly admitted to sharing a feud with Jennifer Lopez, the R&B songstress has certainly hinted that she was often overlooked because of the success. Aside from being accused of stealing the same sample song that Mariah Carey used for her song Loverboy in the same year, Lopez was also given songs that were initially intended for Ashanti, which left Ashanti feeling irritated given that she had just landed her first taste of success in the music industry around that same time. Then in September of 2001, Lopez released I'm Real, lifted from her second studio album with Gotti, but He eventually handed the track over to Lopez even though the song was already recorded and mixed with Ashanti's vocals, which is why you still hear her background vocals in Lopez's version. Ashanti said, quote, "It felt bittersweet because I was really excited because it was with J-Lo, you know what I mean? But I was so mad at Irv because I was like, you know I wanted that record." The whole situation between the two stars always seems bizarre and unfair, and many people believe that J-Lo outright stole Ashanti's vocals and passed them off as her own. Usher. J-Lo and Usher had a pretty big feud in 2005 over alleged music theft. The star had been accused of stealing or borrowing background tracks and vocals from other artists for years, and Usher had something to say about this. He claimed that his R&B rival stole a song that he cast aside while recording the hugely successful album Confessions. Usher said that J-Lo's single Get Right is actually a re-recorded version of Ride, a song that he co-wrote last year, which was only available online. When asked about the whole ordeal, the then 26-year-old said, quote, "I hate it, but I'd better get some of the publishing rights or else. I didn't put it on my album because I couldn't get it right, but I didn't expect J-Lo to just take it." In fact, this whole situation was partly due to producer Rich Harrison, who co-wrote the track with Usher and later decided to use it during recording sessions for J-Lo's upcoming album Rebirth, using the exact same vocal pattern. So J-Lo's song Get Right is actually a reworking of a beat Usher had created for his own album. When he scrapped his song Ride, parts of it made it into Jennifer's track and created one of the biggest dance floor hits ever. At least Usher was vocal about it, and as a result chose not to work with J-Lo for several years following. Howard Stern. The controversial radio host Howard Stern is J-Lo's biggest critic and just doesn't understand her appeal. He said so himself on his super popular radio show. Not only isn't he a fan of her music, but Stern has publicly claimed that Jennifer's been rude to him on multiple occasions, despite his friendship with people close to her, saying that he does not respect her stuck-up attitude. One of the main reasons why Lopez will never go on the Howard Stern show is because he has attacked everything from her career choices to her appearance. Both were judges on America's Got Talent at the same time, and in a red carpet interview with HLN in 2012, he said that Jennifer Lopez was more interested in promoting her career than being a proper judge. Quote, "It helped her career. She got very far. She suddenly got back on the charts and the show was good for her, and it became more about J-Lo." In 2016, Howard compared J-Lo's music to that of a homeless woman who sang a nonsensical song, and as a prank, Howard's staff took the song to pedestrians on the street and tried to pass it off as her latest hit. One of the harshest things he's ever said though was during an interview with J-Lo's ex P. Diddy, where he slammed her looks by claiming that Diddy got out at the right time due to her aging. Eva Mendes. There was a time where Eva Mendes and J-Lo comparisons were inevitable. Similar to Lopez, Eva's career began in the 90s. She started out featuring in music videos with stars like Will Smith, Aerosmith, and Pet Shop Boys. They were both Latina actors making waves in the entertainment industry in the 2000s. They've both dated A-listers and starred in big-budget blockbusters, delivering standout performances that stole the show. However, when these similarities were brought to Eva's attention, the actress was very offended at the idea and felt that it was insulting to be compared to Lopez at all. In fact, Eva even felt that her approach to acting was more serious than Lopez's in a major way, and added that J-Lo manages her career like a business as opposed to caring about her art. Quote, "I would like to think I will have a more serious career than J-Lo. We may be both of Latin origin, but that's where the comparisons stop. She manages her career like the head of a big corporation, whereas the only thing I care about is becoming the best actress possible." While Mendes has made it clear that she never respected J-Lo's career, at least her comments don't sound too personal and were probably made because she was just sick and tired of constantly being compared to the other Latina actress.
Coming in at number 10 today, we have the Kardashians. Let's face it, no A-lister in Hollywood would ever admit to being a fan of the Kardashian family, let alone being a very close friend. After all, the Kardashian family doesn't really have the best reputation in Hollywood. But Jennifer Lawrence doesn't seem to mind that, and she's even even gone on record to praise the family and admit that she's actually a huge fan of their family in the show. With the star posing for photos with them, interviewing them, proclaiming her love for them, it has caused a large amount of critics and fans to find Jennifer's overall affection to be a little too much. Even when she talked about the family with People magazine, it would leave people cringing after she told the outlet, "When I found out I was going to be interviewing her, I was like, oh my god, my whole life has been building up for this moment. I wanted to get as much information as I could. I wanted to do my due diligence on Kim Kardashian." She since has developed a really weird relationship with Kris Jenner and even goes to eat dinner with the whole family from time to time. Number 9, her talent. In the beginning of Jennifer's career, a lot of people admitted that she was a force to be reckoned with, as she was able to win over a lot of roles that many other actresses at her age could only dream of having. With Jennifer also being given the title of America's sweetheart pretty fast, she then went on to use a lot of humor in her interviews in an attempt to become more likable and show that she was a really down-to-earth girl. However, at this time, critics then began to question her talent on the big screen. Sure, she looked like the full package, but can she really act? And this is a question people are still asking themselves today. And if you take a look at her last few box office movies, then the writing is definitely on the wall. As with the movies not really doing well, it kind of proves maybe if another actor was hired instead of her, they could have actually done well. Hey my little peaches, are you liking this video so far? If so, don't forget to give it a thumbs up. Subscribe to the channel so you never have to miss out on what we might just cover next. Coming back to our list today, in the number 8 spot, we have competition. When it comes to the reality in Hollywood, it's hard, it's cold, and it's extremely ugly. As the truth is, everyone has their expiration date, and there are only a handful of stars who can actually make it in the long run, especially when it comes to their careers. Being in the industry, you have to face the hard reality that one day you are in, and the next day you could be out. And it seems like this is the case with Jennifer Lawrence. She used to be everyone's sweetheart with her bubbly personality and jokes, but these days no one's even paying attention to her. It's clear people have grown tired of her shtick pretty fast, and unfortunately for the actress, she hasn't been able to figure out how to reinvent herself just yet. With there being a lot of competition in the entertainment industry, there are hundreds of people who are exactly like the star, who can do exactly the same thing she does every day, and they can probably do it even better in the process. And because of this, the star has been devastated when it comes to losing out on roles, especially when she didn't land a role in Tim Burton's Alice in Wonderland. Number 7, box office failure. Jennifer used to star in some of the biggest Oscar-worthy films in the industry. However, these days she's pretty lucky even to get a good role, especially since when she starred in the film Mother, it failed in the box office. Not only was the film considered to be one of the world's worst movies, it was also considered to being one of the worst movies of the year it came out. With Jennifer thinking that the movie would be an Oscar gold movie at the time of its release, she would soon have a rude awakening after critics would tear her apart for her poor acting skills. Jennifer would then later open up about her failure of Mother by saying, "Did you guys not get it? I gave my body, Darren gave his heart for that script, and you don't get it. It's a little sad." And I remember letting it be sad for a couple of days. However, I think we can all agree that the movie was just confusing, hard to follow, and if it didn't end the way it ended, then we would still be asking ourselves, what did we just watch? But I mean, either way, we're still asking ourselves, what did we watch when we watched that movie? Number 6, tired of her stick. There are only so many times you can fall on your face at a huge public event in an award show, right? Well, for Jennifer Lawrence's fans, they are tired of her shtick. As we have all come to learn, tripping on our designer gowns each time you make a public appearance on the red carpet can get old pretty fast, and believe it or not, it's gotten pretty old. Sure, a lot of people are clumsy like myself. I typically trip up the stairs every now and then. But when you purposely go on to show it in public and constantly talk about it in your interviews, it gets pretty tiresome. Yet Jennifer Lawrence doesn't seem to understand that, and she continues to put on the same klutzy show over and over again. And for a lot of people, it's only getting more annoying than her movies. And nobody is buying whatever she's trying to sell anymore. When she sat down for an interview with Howard Stern, she then tried to make light of the situation by saying, "Next year at the Oscars, I fell on a traffic cone. Everything would be fine if I didn't fall on a traffic cone because it immediately looked like my heel snapped in England. I mean, on the Hunger Games press tour, I fell in every city." You see what I mean?
Rihanna and JLo started feuding right around the time that JLo was seen getting cozy with Rihanna's ex, Drake. This all happened in 2016 when J.Lo and Drake took a photo backstage at J.Lo's concert. Once the photos came out, everyone assumed that they were dating, which probably got the attention of his exes. A lot of fans felt the whole thing was most likely a publicity stunt, but Rihanna took the rumors pretty seriously and lashed out online because of it. A source said at the time that Rihanna suffered, quote, the ultimate betrayal and dubbed Lopez desperate and a traitor. This was because Rihanna and J.Lo were really tight at one point, and Rihanna even got support from J.Lo during rough times with Drake. Then in December of 2016, Rihanna unfollowed J.Lo on Instagram, making her stance very clear. Jenna Dewan. When the pair started alongside each other on World of Dance, they seemed like they got along great. Lopez was a producer and a judge, while Dewan was a host and mentor on the show. But sources revealed that when the camera stopped rolling, the women hated each other. One source said about their relationship, quote, Jenna can't stand Jen's over-the-top theatrical fakery. Jen never fails to ham it up when the cameras are rolling, and she hijacks the show. It seems she'd prefer if Jenna just stayed in the background. The insider continued that J.Lo is a micromanager who tells everyone else what to do. Because of all her input, Jenna felt excluded and felt like her voice was not heard. Although there is a chance that this feud is not accurate because when Dewan's team was asked about the feud rumors, they denied them. Ojani Noah. Jennifer Lopez has been married 3 times before. Her first and shortest marriage was to Cuban waiter Ojani Noah. Although their relationship ended in 1998, it's clear that Noah cannot stand her, and whenever asked about Lopez, he does not hold back his negative feelings. Back in 2006, he was actually set to release a juicy tell-all book about Lopez called The Unknown Truth, a passionate portrait of a serial thriller. But before it was set to be published, Lopez was able to stop it with a lawsuit. She argued that publishing the book broke their confidentiality agreement, and the courts agreed. From that lawsuit, she won $545,000 in damages, and Noah was forbid from criticizing or casting in a negative light or otherwise disparaging Lopez. Noah's name was brought up once again when he threatened to leak an intimate tape of the two of them on their honeymoon. Lopez then filed a $10 million lawsuit against him. When asked why the relationship ended, Noah blamed Lopez, saying, quote, I was looking forward to being with her for the rest of my life. It didn't happen. She made the choice of her career instead of me. And finally, Jennifer Lopez herself. Nobody has done more to warn us about J.Lo's sketchy behavior than herself. And some of the things she's done in the past are too terrible to ignore. Back when she tried to score a role in competition with actress Claire Danes, J.Lo said some harsh things about her competition, saying that Claire Danes does the quote, same thing with every character she does. Then Lopez bashed Winona Ryder, saying that she was not a big fan of her work. And finally, Lopez took aim at Gwyneth Paltrow, saying, quote, tell me what she's been in. I swear to God, I don't remember anything she was in. Some people get hot by association. I heard more about her and Brad Pitt than I ever heard about her work. Then in a different interview, Lopez decided to take aim at Madonna, specifically bashing Madonna's attempt at acting. Quote, do I think she's a great performer? Yeah. Do I think she's a great actress? No. Acting is what I do, so I'm harder on people when they say, oh, I can do that, I can act. I'm like, hey, don't spit on my craft. Aside from dishing out unnecessary shade to other celebrities, Lopez also has a reputation for being incredibly rude to service people. One United Airlines employee told the press how much of a diva she was during her flight. Apparently, he asked if she wanted a drink, and she replied, quote, I just said, what can I get you to drink? But Jennifer refused to even acknowledge me. She turned her head away and told her personal assistant, please tell him I'd like a Diet Coke and lime. Even though the stewardess was trying to serve her what she wanted, she refused to look, and made her assistant speak for her. It's so ridiculous and an unnecessary power play. But this interaction is nothing compared to the maid that was fired for asking J.Lo for an autograph. The maid later spoke with media and said she asked J.Lo's 2 assistants, who rejected the autograph. Then a day later, the hotel said that Lopez complained about the incident, and that maid was fired.
Number 10. The alleged racism. Jennifer and Ben Affleck tied the knot in a surprise wedding in Las Vegas and decided to have a bigger ceremony not long after. This time around, they opted to celebrate at Ben's 87-acre compound that is just outside of Savannah, Georgia. But this choice in venue sparked criticism that shouldn't be ignored. Called by the family as the Big House, Ben purchased the home in 2003, and it features 3 separate homes within: the Oyster House, the Summer House, and the Greek Revival style home. The listing agent said, when talking about the home, every detail is historically accurate, from the plaster moldings to the heart of the pine floors. But it seems that because of being historically accurate in nature, it's left fans wondering. Commenters on social media began criticizing the couple for hosting a celebration at a plantation, which of course is a style of home that has association with some pretty horrible history. To make matters worse, Ben and Jen were aware of the dark history in his ancestral cholesterol line. News One reported that 7 years later, Ben issued an apology after requesting the PBS show Finding Your Roots withheld information about his plantation-owning ancestor. This allegedly even led to PBS shelving the show. This left many fans wondering why the couple would choose this home at all as their wedding venue, as well as why they own it in the first place. Despite finding his roots and knowing some of his ancestors' dark past, many found this to highlight some problematic behavior of ignoring the dark history of some of the buildings. Though the house itself isn't true in time, the land is. The property was reportedly owned by a plantation manager and allegedly is an unmarked graveyard. Most assume that Jennifer was aware of this information prior to planning her wedding there, and this hasn't left a good taste in many fans' mouths about the couple since.
Number 9. Talk smack about other actresses. When a reporter from Movie Line turned up at Jennifer Lopez's home to conduct an interview in 1998, he was greeted with what he described as being an orchestrated and deliberate scene. While JLo was being pampered by a number of different staff members doing her business, while she was getting a massage, she seemingly felt the need to let loose during the interview as she started taking swipes at a number of her industry rivals. When she was asked what she thought about the actresses of whom she was competing for roles for, she said the Romeo and Juliet star Claire Danes does the same thing with every character she does, despite the fact that they work together on the set of Oliver Stone's neo-noir crime thriller U-Turn. Lopez then went on to say she was never really a big fan of the two-time Oscar nominee Winona Ryder, and she also went off on Gwyneth Paltrow, who would win Best Actress at the Academy Awards the following year by saying, "Tell me what she's been in." Jennifer then went on to tell the reporter in the infamous interview, "I swear to God, I don't remember anything she was in. Some people get hot by association. I've heard more about her and Brad Pitt than I've ever heard about her work." Hey, my little peaches, are you liking this video so far? If so, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel.
Number 8. Bad acting. You can't deny Jennifer Lopez had some movie hits in the past, but lately fans are torn, questioning if she has just lost the touch. After failing to get a nomination for Best Supporting Actress in the movie Hustlers in 2020, fans took to social media to share their thoughts. The TV host Wendy Williams believes she was completely snubbed, saying, "Let me tell you something, Jen, you were robbed. They robbed you purposely because they're jealous of you." But some fans just didn't agree, speculating that it was her acting that was a direct result in the 0 nominations. A fan wrote at the time, "She has acted in 36 films but has never won an Oscar. Yeah, that's because they're all bad." They added, "No one wants to tell her the truth. Hustlers was a terrible movie, and her acting was very one-dimensional." Other fans seem to agree that maybe Jennifer has lost the sparkle that she did once have. On Reddit, when asked, "What do you think of Jennifer Lopez?" one user wrote, "She had promise. Honestly, she has fallen prey to the fame game. She brought solid work for a couple films, but she is no longer a phenomenon or a rare talent." They even went on to add, "She can fade with people taking very little notice. Things have a way of working themselves out." Harsh statements for sure, but what do you guys think? Are Jennifer's acting days behind her?
Number 7. Insults musicians. During another Movie Line interview, Jennifer also offered her opinion on fellow pop star Madonna's career when she claimed Madonna was good at the former, but not so good at the latter by saying, "Do I think she's a great performer? Yeah. Do I think she's a great actress? No. Acting is what I do, so I'm harder on people when I say, oh, I can do that, I can act. I'm like, hey, don't spit on my craft." However, the Queen of Pop isn't the only musician Lopez has shaded, as there has been much speculation that JLo's short-lived relationship with Drake in 2016 was nothing but a publicity stunt. However, the fact that Rihanna, who had somewhat of a complicated relationship with the Canadian rapper over the years, unfollowed Lopez on Instagram after she was posted in a pic across the Grammy winners, it seems to suggest that there indeed was some truth to the coupling. Lopez then revealed that she and Drake were working on a song together, but working with JLo doesn't always end well, and Drake learned that the hard way after she dissed Drake during a live show in Las Vegas by telling the audience that he was nothing but a late night call for her. And we all wonder why he won't bring a nice girl home to his mom for once.
Number 6. Insensitive comments. Jennifer Lopez was called out for some criticized comments made about her Super Bowl halftime performance in 2020. For the halftime show, JLo came together with Shakira for an iconic event. Despite having 6 minutes of performance times each, it received a huge amount of praise from the stars. However, after Jen's documentary Halftime came out, discussing some of the struggles of the show, a few fans took back their former praise. Not only did Jen brand the whole thing as the worst idea in the world, but she had some very specific views on a political aspect. It seems her organizers just weren't seeing eye to eye with her at the time. During her performance, she was surrounded by children sitting cross-legged inside a glowing cage. Many came to the conclusion that these glowing cages were intended to look like immigrant children being held in cages at the US detention centers. You're probably thinking, how could this be bad, as this is a topic that should be more widely discussed? But it was her comments afterwards that got fans pretty heated. It seems the NFL was more reluctant to include this moment at all, which pushed J.Lo to fight back at the show's organizers in a heated phone call which was shown in her documentary. She said, "I'm trying to give you something with substance, not just out here shaking our effing butts and effing belly dancing." She went on to say, "I want something real, I want something that's going to make a statement." Not long after the documentary was released, a certain line about belly dancing found its way across Twitter. One Twitter user wrote, "In a new documentary, J.Lo compared belly dancing to just shaking your butt." She said this type of dance and what Shakira offered wasn't culturally relevant enough to be shown on stage. They continued on by saying, "This comes after she said she was not happy to share the stage with Shakira. She's bitter, loud, and wrong." Others even accused her of having an ethocentric mindset, where she believes her culture is superior to others. One other social media user wrote, "To say that belly dancing, a Middle Eastern culture, has no substance is so ethnocentric and perhaps a little racist."
Tim Gunn. Tim Gunn is another person who does not hold back their feelings, and that was no exception in the case of Jennifer Aniston. After her 2008 split from John Mayer, Gunn felt she was completely desperate and would continue with her trope of playing the victim. At a launch party event, he said about Aniston, quote, "Sometimes I think she has a desperate character written on her," adding, "The clothes we wear send a message. I think that's the message. I don't think it's her intention though." Clearly, Gunn thinks her perpetual victim card is all an act, and she's really just desperate for attention. Bill O'Reilly. Aniston and Bill O'Reilly got into a strange feud after Aniston made some comments about children while promoting her 2010 movie, The Switch. For a summary on the movie, Aniston's character wants to have a child, and because she is single, she decides to get a sperm donor and has a child with that donor's help, clearly showing a new take on motherhood in the modern era. While promoting the film, she said that, quote, "Times have changed when it comes to the way that people think about family." Aniston added that single motherhood is quite beautiful because there are children that don't have homes that have a home and can be loved, and that's extremely important. She obviously wasn't intending to start a controversy with these comments, but she did anyways when Fox News host Bill O'Reilly trashed her comments on the O'Reilly factor. He said that her comments told young women that their children don't need fathers, which would be destructive to our society. Aniston, who doesn't usually comment on this stuff, decided to clap back, saying, quote, "I never actually thought my name and that name would ever be in one sentence." She added that she only responded to the ridiculous comments because they insulted the women that are out there doing this on their own. Piers Morgan. Piers Morgan shared his disdain for Jennifer Aniston after he felt that she was overly emotional during a Q&A segment. In 2016, she answered the question if she ever doubted herself by saying, quote, "We're all human beings at the end of the day," while wiping tears from her eyes, voice quivering, adding, quote, "Don't punish yourself if you feel that." Fans love the genuine moment because it's a great feeling knowing that even celebrities have their fair share of bad times. But Piers did not take kindly to her vulnerability and felt it was completely fake. So the following week on Good Morning Britain, Morgan claimed that she was, quote, "self-wallowing and needed to get a grip," adding, quote, "Nobody forced Aniston to do her naked magazine shoots," then reminding her that her problems don't really matter because half of the world is starving. Then later in 2016, he also took the time to respond to an article that Aniston wrote trashing the media, where she shared how she was fed up with body shaming and scrutiny that she received. Morgan responded that she should dismount that high horse. In 2017, Aniston responded to that by saying, quote, "You're always going to have the Piers Morgans of the world contradicting something that comes from the heart and saying you're a hypocrite." The Friends cast. Even though the cast of Friends make it seem like they always got along perfectly, that was not always the case, and there was a point in time where the entire Friends cast hated Jen Aniston. When the show was really taking off, it was clear that fans and the media loved Jen's character the most, and she was getting the most press for everything, including her signature haircut. Her female co-stars got very jealous of all the attention, and that translated into real-life feelings. Courtney Cox and Lisa Kudrow were described as, quote, "very jealous of Jen." The source added, quote, "Everyone wanted to interview Jen, and her Rachel's hair became such a phenomenon that was the only thing people talked about. They were supposed to be a team, but all anyone cared about was Jen and her stupid hair. It got very annoying." And it was not only the women in the group that had a problem with Jen. The men also were not fond of her either. The source continued, quote, "The boys gave her a hard time," claiming that Matthew Perry and Matt LeBlanc also made mean-spirited jokes at Jen's expense. They felt that she thought that she was better than they were. Thankfully for Aniston, the tension did not last long, and the cast united together to negotiate salaries of $1 million per episode each. After they won the compensation battle, things simmered. Quote, "They eventually realized the whole fame thing was out of their hands, and they grew up and grew closer as a cast. And now the cast remain good friends to this day. It was even alleged that Matthew Perry and Aniston had a fling back in the day.
Madonna. Superstar Madonna has been in the game since the 80s and established plenty of enduring relationships with other entertainers who've come before and after her. But that doesn't mean she hasn't had her moments where she's thrown someone the cold shoulder. In this case, Jennifer Lopez definitely deserved it because she dissed Madonna's whole career in that infamous Movie Line interview in 1998. Lopez was 27 at the time and fresh off the success of her film Selena. It was then that she decided to boast about her own talent in comparison to Madonna. Quote, "Do I think she's a great performer? Yeah. Do I think she's a great actress? No." She also added, quote, "Acting is what I do. So I'm harder on people when they say, oh, I can do that, I can act. I'm like, hey, don't spit on my craft." Those comments were pretty bad considering that Madonna has been a star for a lot longer than J-Lo, and at the time of the interview, there was almost no comparison between them. It seems like Madonna held on to those remarks for quite some time, because in 2009, she went on David Letterman and implied that Lopez tries to copy her by studying her looks on stage. Gwyneth Paltrow. At the time, Lopez was still fresh off the success of Selena and Anaconda, and she was explaining how she felt she was grouped into what she called the bottom of the A-list actresses. Paltrow was a star on the rise at the time, with many films under her belt such as Seven, Great Expectations, and Shakespeare in Love, which earned her a Best Actress Oscar in 1999. When Lopez was asked about Paltrow, she almost seemed to laugh and made it clear that she didn't take her fellow actress's career seriously. Quote, "Tell me what she's been in? I swear to God, I don't remember anything she was in. Some people get hot by association. I heard more about her and Brad Pitt than I ever heard about her work. If you have the goods, there's nothing to be afraid of. If somebody doesn't have the goods, they're insecure. I don't have that problem." Although Paltrow took the high road and never publicly criticized the star, when J-Lo started dating her ex-boyfriend Ben Affleck, she was reportedly very upset about the pairing and said that she didn't think Jennifer is right for him. It's easy to see why she felt that way. Scott Barnes. If you want to see just how long Lopez can hold a grudge, just ask celebrity makeup artist Scott Barnes, who's worked for her for the past 20 years. It's important to note that not all of J-Lo's feuds and shade throwing has been directed towards the rich and famous. The star essentially banished her longtime makeup artist Scott Barnes after rumors surfaced that someone had leaked info to the press about her and Mark Anthony's secret marriage ceremony. Speaking on the Jeff Probst show in 2012, Barnes revealed that the woman he considered a friend cast him aside for an entire year until it was confirmed that someone else was responsible for the leak. Quote, "It was like I had the plague." Interestingly enough, J-Lo did end up giving Barnes his old job back again after learning the truth, but apparently failed to apologize for being so cold and ruthless, which sounds exactly like something she would do. The celebrity makeup artist, who's also lent his talents to Hollywood stars, including Gwyneth Paltrow, added, quote, "I went right back to work with her, and we just never spoke about it again, which is even weirder." The funny thing is, Barnes would go on to work with her for another 6 years and insisted that they remained on good terms, despite the fact that she ghosted him. He wasn't even guilty of the leak, but she cut him out of her life for a whole year. Talk about insanity. Salma Hayek. In that same interview from 1998, Lopez did not enjoy being compared to Salma Hayek. Quote, "We're in two different realms. She's a sexy bombshell, and those are the kinds of roles that she does. I do all kinds of different things." And as if trashing her career wasn't enough, the supremely confident Lopez also claimed that Hayek had been telling a few lies about the fact that she had been offered the lead role of Selena, the 1997 film based on the life of slain Texas-born superstar Selena Quintanilla. She went on to say, quote, "It makes me laugh when she says she got offered Selena, which is an outright lie. If that's what she does to get herself publicity, then that's her thing." The comments were incredibly rude and ignorant of J-Lo, even though she claimed they were taken out of context in an interview that she did a few years later. But in 2020, Salma Hayek opened up to Andy Cohen on Watch What Happens Live, saying that in the 90s she was offered the role of Selena before Jennifer Lopez Lopez, but she turned it down. Quote, "They offered it to me like a week after she died. It was a little distasteful. They were already planning on making this movie. So it goes to show you how gracious Salma Hayek is because she wanted to be respectful to Selena's passing."
Halfway through at number 5 is Donald Trump Jr. Does he even count as a celebrity? Probably not, I don't know, but this is still a fun story that I wanted to include. I'm sure being the son of the former president who caused a ton of controversy would often have you in the middle of feuds for anyone who didn't like your dad. Jennifer told Oprah that she would want to meet Donald Trump and said, "I've got a pretty good speech," and it ends with a martini to the face. I have something to say for all of them. I watch different characters on the news and I'm like, you just wait. Not too long after that, Donald Trump Jr. had something to say to her. He went on Twitter and shared a link to the article with the headline, "Jennifer Lawrence, if I meet Trump, it'll end with a martini to the face," and he fired back and said, "I'm pretty sure that's not how it would end." Jen really didn't seem too bothered by his tweet, and she didn't bother tweeting back, which is probably for the best. Taking over spot number 4 is Kim Kardashian. This one seemed like a lot of miscommunication or an issue that was never an issue, but the media made it look like one. I'm still not really sure. Jen has made it clear for a long time now that she's obsessed with the Kardashians, and she even started having a friendship with Kris Jenner. According to a source who spoke to Radar Online, Kim started to have enough of Jen's attention. Reports claim that Kim went into a jealous rage over the close relationship that was developing between her mom and Jen. The source said, I quote, "Kim was always Kris's favorite until Jennifer crashed the scene. She was waltzing into the family's world acting like a superstar and upsetting the order with her loud chaos. Kris says she's a hoot and treats her like the blonde daughter she never had. The sunshine walks with Jennifer in Kris's eyes, and Kim is fed up and doesn't know what to do." No one is sure if any of this is true because things seem to be okay between them when Jennifer interviewed Kim on Jimmy Kimmel Live when she took over his show. It seemed very normal to me, but that could always just be an act. I'm really not sure. Sniping number 3 spot is Lala Kent. It's no secret that Jen speaks her mind and doesn't normally beat around the bush. But people were surprised to see some of the comments she made on Watch What Happens Live regarding Lala Kent. During the interview, she called her a C word, because I cannot say that word. But apparently it was in a joking manner. Whether it was a joke or not, Kent didn't take too kindly to it and went on Twitter to talk about it. She sent out a bunch of tweets that have since been deleted. A month after, she went on a podcast to talk about it, and she made comments saying Jen's last 2 films were fails and said she's the type of chick who would give Harvey Weinstein favors for roles. Honestly, that was just the tip of the iceberg of the comments she made. She went in very hard on the actress, even picking apart her appearance. However, Jen still stands by the fact that she was joking in her initial interview. I mean, I don't get the joke. When I'm joking, I don't use that word, but okay. Next up at number 2, we have J-Lo. This feud was never really a feud, but people didn't know that right away until J-Lo cleared it up once the media had turned it into something. During a visit to The Tonight Show with Jimmy Fallon back in 2014, Jennifer Lawrence treated the audience to a party story that included Jimmy and J-Lo. She revealed that she was drunk and she and Jimmy both saw J-Lo and they said they wanted to ask her to dance, so they made a plan that they would do a spin and say, "Dance with us." Turns out Jimmy chickened out, so Jen was left to do it on her own, but she got the cold shoulder from J-Lo. She did the spin, asked her to dance, and J-Lo replied with, no, I think I'm gonna observe." Obviously, Jen was devastated, as I would be, so the media ran with that story. But J-Lo cleared things up with Access Hollywood and said that she told Jen, "I'm good right here," only because it was really crowded at the moment, so she just literally wanted to stay right there in that area. She cleared it up though by saying that she would have loved to dance with Jen, so kind of a big misunderstanding. In the number 1 spot is Lindsay Lohan. In December 2015, while promoting Joy on The Late Show with Stephen Colbert, Jen stirred up some controversy with a dig at Lindsay. Colbert praised her for being a star who's willing to talk about the things that aren't so glamorous and asked her about getting sick while shooting Joy in Boston. Jen candidly talked about how she got a stomach virus and was puking a lot. During her story time, she said, "I just keep going until eventually my body is just like, if we don't make her barf or pass out, she won't stop. I get like Lindsay Lohan grade exhaustion, but without any drugs or alcohol." Immediately afterwards, Lindsay's sister Aliana jumped to her defense on Twitter Twitter and wrote, "I never breathe life into negativity, but I stand by my family. Disappointed in Jennifer Lawrence? Not cool." Lindsay ended up chiming in saying, "Thank you, sister. Maybe who you're referring to should learn to support others." Lindsay's mom then later told Entertainment Tonight that they have all been a fan of Jennifer's and her movies, and that it was very disappointing to see her trash talk Lindsay like that. I mean, I agree. Not a cool comment.
First up, of course, we have Mariah Carey. Even if you're not familiar with many of JLo's feuds, I'm sure you know that Mariah Carey hates her. That's because Mariah has not been shy about throwing shade in her direction. These two have been feuding ever since JLo started to make music, and started to steal her shine. Then when Mariah was asked about Lopez in an interview, she famously replied, quote, "I don't know her." Years later, when Andy Cohen brought up the beef on his show Watch What Happens Live in 2014, Jennifer Lopez played the whole thing off, saying, quote, "I don't have a feud against her at all. I know from back in the day, I've read things that she said about me that were not the greatest, but we have never met. Like, we don't know each other. I would love to meet her, and I would love to be friends with her." But then JLo was a little more savage on the Wendy Williams show when asked about the feud in 2016. Lopez said, quote, "She's forgetful, I guess. We've met so many times." But Carey doubled down in another interview where she added that she still doesn't know Jennifer Lopez. When Mariah had a mishap of her own during a disastrous New Year's Eve performance, Lopez took a break from the high road and liked an extremely shady tweet about Mariah. The tweet said, quote, "Ever seen an accident you couldn't take your eyes away from? That was her tonight." If you're wondering where this feud started, it all goes back to Mariah's ex-husband and music executive, Tommy Mottola. After getting married in 1993, Carey divorced Mottola in 1998 because he was very controlling. And to get back at her, Mottola started up JLo's career and did everything possible to make JLo a star, instead of Mariah. JLo sampled a number of Mariah-esque songs. There were even allegations she straight up copied some of Mariah's songs, but tried to make them more of a hit. All because of Mottola. But Mariah knows she still came out on top, adding, quote, "After all that shit, Loverboy ended up being the best-selling single of 2001 in the United States." So basically the whole feud is over career competition and the fact that Lopez was in cahoots with Carey's controlling ex. Rosie Perez. You'd think that JLo and Rosie Perez would be great friends, considering how much they have in common. Both women are dancers, are Puerto Rican, and grew up in New York. But the pair are not close, and it would be more accurate to say that they actually hate each other. According to Perez's 2014 memoir, Handbook for an Unpredictable Life, she has plenty of negative stories to share about JLo. In her memoir, Perez shared a story from the set of In Living Color. She wrote about Lopez, quote, "All of the girls were coming into my office complaining how she was manipulating wardrobe, makeup, and me, all to her advantage," and added she was acting like, quote, "some ghetto bitch," screaming and pounding her chest. JLo ended up leaving that show after 2 seasons, but the feud between the pair continued, and Perez claimed that Lopez would speak negatively about her whenever she got the chance. Even worse, Lopez was allegedly two-faced. She would talk trash behind Perez's back, but be nice to her face. Brandy. In the midst of the Mariah and JLo feud, Brandy publicly supported Mariah, making it clear she does not like JLo. In July of 2017, Brandy took to Instagram to share a photo of herself hugging Mariah Carey with the caption, #SheKnows Me, an obvious reference to Mariah's infamous "I don't know her" comment about JLo. All the comments were flooded with people speculating over the caption, and the consensus quickly became that the photo was a dig at JLo. However, Brandy later addressed the caption, writing, quote, "Oh my god, what happened? I swear to goodness, I didn't know what the fuss is about. I love this pic and now everyone thinks I'm throwing shade. At who? This is funny. Can't take this one down. I love this picture and whenever I'm throwing shade, it's not questionable, you know that I am." Later adding that Mariah does in fact know her. Mariah supported the post by commenting, quote, "I sure do." Even though Brandy is trying to convince us it's nothing shady, I honestly don't believe it. Next up, Nicki Minaj. It's long been rumored that Jennifer Lopez is a huge diva, and the fight that her and Nicki Minaj had while on American Idol brought up both of their diva sides. In 2012, Lopez was a judge on American Idol while Nicki came on to perform, and things got tense fast. After Nicki finished performing, she went over to the judges table and asked, quote, "I was hoping maybe I could come back and be a guest judge. JLo, can you scoot over a little bit?" JLo then responded, quote, "I don't know if there's enough room for both of us." Then Minaj took it up another notch backstage when she said, quote, "She didn't seem to be having it, but she's gonna have it." But she later added, quote, "We were just joking around." But it's clear the bad blood is still there. When Lopez performed at the 2015 AMAs, she sang a part of Minaj's song Anaconda. But I don't think Nicki got the memo that it was going to be happening, because when the camera panned to Nicki, she did not look happy. Fans totally saw the shade and started tweeting about it that night.
At number 5, we have former NBC World of Dance TV host and mentor Jenna Dewan, who sat on the panel with then executive producer Jennifer. Although the two dancers and celebrities seemed fine during the 2017 reality dance competition tapings, their animosity behind the scenes apparently ran deep. An unnamed outlet source once stated on Jenna's behalf that Jenna, quote, can't stand Jen's over-the-top theatrical fakery, adding that Jen never fails to ham it up when the cameras are rolling and she hijacks the show. It seems she'd prefer if Jenna just stayed in the background. Every situation, even off camera, is micromanaged by J-Lo, and Jenna feels very excluded. This alleged feud seemed to be squashed fairly quickly though when Gossip Cop reached out to a show producer and one of Jenna's reps and was informed that the reported beef was misleading. However, given Jennifer's past, can we really be sure of this? At number 4, we have actress Rosie Perez. She and Jennifer apparently had lifelong ties with one another that seemed great on the outside. But both Puerto Rican dancers raised in New York have zero love for each other, according to Rosie's 2014 Handbook for an Unpredictable Life memoir. In it, Rosie discusses working on In Living Color with Jennifer in a wickedly horrible light. Quote, all the girls were coming into my office complaining how she was manipulating wardrobe, makeup, and me all to her advantage. Despite Jennifer dipping from ILC after 2 seasons, Rosie stuck with her words of Jennifer supposedly keeping the flame of their feud burning for years after they parted. The words on the pages of Rosie's book portrayed Jennifer to be a two-faced person who would crap on Rosie one minute but then act super sweet like nothing happened between them the next. At number 3, we have artist Rihanna, who seemed to be unimpressed by Jennifer after the star posted herself chilling with Rihanna's on-again off-again reported love interest Drake backstage at her 2016 Winter Vegas show. Naturally, Jennifer's snap captioned, "Look who rolled up at my show tonight to say hi, #love him," sparked massive dating rumors. And it probably didn't help that Jennifer uploaded a follow-up pic of her and Drake bear hugging and looking overly comfortable snuggling up. While many were unconvinced about the headlines, Rihanna was seemingly not here for any of it, which is why she reportedly went on to dub Jennifer as a desperate traitor. According to an unnamed insider who spoke to Touch, Rihanna had felt like she experienced the ultimate betrayal by Jennifer, since they once had a tight-knit bond where Rihanna could seek solace in Jennifer for her relationship. Rihanna did not publicly address their rumored issues, however, she did seem to throw some shade when she suddenly hit the unfollow button on JLo's Insta. At number 2, we have Nicki and Jennifer's heated back and forth jabs that started with an exchange during a 2012 American Idol episode, where Nicki performed and Jennifer was a judge. When the female rapper completed her set, she boldly asked, "I was hoping maybe I could come back and be a guest judge. JLo, can you scoot over a bit?" To which Jennifer immediately quipped, "I don't know if there's enough room for the both of us." Nicki seemed to hold on to that comment when she attempted to smooth things over back with The Hollywood Reporter, saying, "She didn't seem to be having it, but she's gonna have it. We were just joking around." However, in 2015, things were still just as messy when Jennifer opened the American Music Awards performing a medley of songs which included Nicki's hit Anaconda. Nicki seemed to be unimpressed by her performance, as the camera gave away her emotionless expression, which told us everything we needed to know, as one fan hinted. Nicki came to Jennifer's defense at that point though when she fired back with a tweet to a fan explaining, "I'm looking at my own face on the screen when I'm looking to the right. I turn back and look at her." At number 1, we have the iconic I Don't Know Her rivalry that has been carried out for years now. This beef has been ongoing since the early 2000s, with both stars being repeatedly questioned on whether or not they actually like each other. It seems they can't really decide though. Host Danny Cohen brought up their beef on his show in 2014, where Jennifer nonchalantly played the situation off with, "I don't have a feud against her at all. I've read things she said about me that were not the greatest, but we don't know each other. I would love to meet her and I would love to be friends with her." However, she told Wendy Williams the exact opposite in 2016 for her show, explaining, "She's forgetful, I guess. We've met many times." Andy went straight to the source to speak with Mariah that same year, and in response, Mariah reiterated, "I don't know her. What am I supposed to say?" Jennifer, of course, took this as major shade, and when people were flaming Mariah for her quote disastrous New Year's Eve performance that winter, Jennifer threw some shade of her own by liking a post referring to Mariah's performance as a train wreck. It seems Mariah got the final laugh though, because she made it rain shade in her 2020 memoir, The Meaning of Mariah Carey, where she revealed her feud with Jennifer on top of slamming Jennifer's ex-husband and former CEO of Sony Music, Tommy Mottola, for allegedly attempting to ruin her career with Jennifer's help. Mariah claimed Tommy tried to sabotage the glitter soundtrack Firecracker, and pushed that the movie's lead single Lover did not go unnoticed by Sony executives. Mariah also added that Sony rushed to make a single for another female entertainer on their label. But rather than naming Jennifer in the allegation in her sampling of Firecracker on I'm Real that same year, Mariah just concluded with her infamous comment, finishing her statement with, "After all that ish, Loverboy ended up being the best-selling single of 2001 in the United States."
First up, Jay Moore. Jay Moore threw some serious shade Jennifer Aniston's way when he he accused her of being mad that she had to play his love interest in a movie. Basically, she felt the casting could have gotten a more attractive person to act alongside her. It started in 2010 when Elle asked him what his most awkward interaction with a female celebrity was. He responded, not giving names, but describing a situation when an actress got very angry after learning that Moore was playing her love interest in a movie. Apparently, after she learned the news, she said, quote, "You've got to be kidding me," right to his face. That interaction led Moore to, quote, "go to my mom's house and cry." He was specifically asked if the woman he was talking about was Jennifer Aniston because she was his love interest in the 1997 film Picture Perfect. Moore said, quote, "I will never ever answer that." But shortly after, he did answer who he was talking about. While on his More Stories podcast, he confirmed it was Aniston after all. He claimed she went up to him, pointed at him, and yelled, quote, "6 guys they screen test. 6. The one effing guy I hate, this is the guy they hire. Him." Apparently, this kind of berating went on for an entire day, and she kept trash talking him to other people, including their mutual co-stars. In summary, he said that she was so mean to him, and it clearly left a huge impact. So much so that he will not stop bringing it up. In 2016, during a Sports Illustrated interview, he was asked what was more satisfying, kissing Jen Aniston or firing Tom Cruise's character in Jerry Maguire. Moore answered, quote, "Without question, firing Tom Cruise. Tom Cruise is hotter." Probably not the answer that most people were expecting. John Mayer. Most of Jennifer Aniston's ex-boyfriends have nothing but good things to say about her. However, John Mayer took some not-so-subtle digs during an interview after their split. Mayer's 2010 interview with Playboy is pretty infamous in the celebrity world for being one of the shadiest ever, and revealing things he probably should have kept secret, things including some shady digs toward Jen. In the interview, he accused Jen of being someone who is not good with technology, and even refuses to learn new ways to do things, saying, quote, "If Jennifer Aniston knows how to use BitTorrent, I'll eat my effing shoe." While Mayer was getting into Twitter and other social media platforms, he claimed that Aniston was keeping herself away from technological advances. He added, quote, "The brunt of her success came before TMZ and Twitter. I think she's still hoping it goes back to 1998. He even brought up their age difference. Aniston was older by 8 years, saying, quote, "I can't change the fact that I need to be 32. Joan Rivers. The late comedian was not known to keep her opinions to herself, and she didn't hold back about her negative feelings toward Jennifer Aniston. In a 2011 interview, Rivers said about Aniston, quote, "I would like to take Jennifer Aniston and put her hair over her effing face. I'm so bored with her and her stupid movies. They're all the same. I don't know how they get financed." Then when she was asked who she doesn't want to see on the Oscars red carpet, Rivers replied, "Jennifer Aniston. Quote, I don't want to see Jennifer Aniston say, boo hoo hoo, Brad Pitt left me, get the F over it." In her book Joan Rivers Confidential, Rivers made another savage comment about Jen. Quote, "Even if Jennifer does become pregnant, Angelina Jolie will get the baby." Kristen Stewart. It's not clear if this is just a rumor or not, but gossip magazine The National Enquirer claimed they had good reason to believe that Kristen Stewart does not like Jennifer Aniston. Back in 2013, Kristen Stewart was allegedly annoyed that Aniston was getting a lot more press than her. The source who shared this claimed it was clear that Kristen was jealous of Jen. At the time, Stewart was struggling with confidence issues and could not understand why Aniston managed to, quote, "hog the headlines every time with little effort." Stewart apparently also added that Aniston's feud with Angelina Jolie gave her a huge bump in the press, and nobody would have cared about her otherwise. The source added that Kristen Stewart said, quote, "If it wasn't for her bitter rivalry with Angelina, Jen would not be this famous these days at all." Again, take this one with a grain of salt, but I'm sure Stewart is not the only person with these feelings.
Number 5. Drives co-stars crazy. Now, there's a list of actresses who have felt like Jennifer Lopez brings things a little too far on set, and one of those peoples on the list is Cameron Diaz, especially after Jennifer went on to diss her about her career to Movie Line by labeling Cameron as a lucky model who's been given a lot of opportunities to the point she wishes Cameron would have just done more with her talent. Jennifer's brutal assessment of Cameron's career trajectory reportedly made things a tad awkward for the pair when the actresses were both cast in the 2012 film What to Do When You're Expecting. On-set sources would then reveal that the two on set just couldn't get along. Lopez then didn't endear herself to Cameron, who allegedly said the pop star was a nightmare to work with, as she once even said to Jen she should stick with her day job, meaning American Idol and singing, as an insider even claimed that Jennifer demanded to eat at specific times, no matter what, and she would even stop work to have her assistant run her over some small protein and a veg-based meal. This drove Cameron crazy. Details of their feud would soon become a hot topic after it appeared in Star magazine, after a source claimed to the media outlet that the co-stars actively avoided one another by saying they don't interact much, but when they do, the tension is thick. And Jennifer just acts like Cameron doesn't exist. However, when both actresses denied the rift while promoting the movie, it then caused critics to say this was ultimately just all planned.
Number 4, music theft. From her career in acting to her music career, it seems controversies seem to follow her. Over the years, Jen has been accused of stealing songs from other prominent artists in order to gain more fame for her music quicker. Back in 2005, J.Lo released her fourth studio album, which was called Rebirth, though it seems to be received from some pretty mixed reviews. The song Get Right was pretty widely praised, and at the time it was reported that the singer Usher was furious though, accusing Jen of using his music. He said at the time, "I hate it, but I better get some of the publishing rights or else. I didn't put it on my album because I couldn't get it right. But I didn't expect J.Lo to just take it." According to Usher, Get It Right was his song with the title Ride, and it was available to listen to show proof that it was her that just re-recorded a version of his own song. Not only that, but Jen was also accused of using Ashanti's vocals for her song I'm Real. She said at the time, "You should always care about who you give credit to, regardless of what industry you're in. It's really important to give credit." Luckily, in the end, she did get credit, but still, it's not a very good look.
Number 3. Makes ridiculous demands. Most big musicians send riders when negotiating with a venue or organization prior to a gig, but if the stories are true, Jennifer Lopez has made some crazy diva demands over the last couple of years. As according to Huffington Post, J.Lo was all set to perform at the opening of the Indian Premier 2020 cricket tournament, which has a TV audience around 60 million people in 2013. But apparently, she lost the gig when IPL bosses found out that she was asking for a private plane, numerous hotel rooms to accommodate all of her stylists and handlers, and the organization was so shocked to even point out they didn't even want to play ball with Jennifer and they would replace her with Pitbull. However, apparently those demands are nothing when you compare them to the impossible requests she made ahead of her medley performance at the World Music Awards in 2010. As the Mirror would report that the singer allegedly requested a helicopter to be on standby, as well as a custom-fitted speedboat and a pair of diamond-encrusted headphones to drown out the sound of the boat's motor. And her people have even requested that she had an entire floor of a hotel to herself to ensure she isn't hassled. Privacy was such a main concern, she even once had a piece of beach roped off for her as well.
Number 2, problems with staff. Jem seems to have been accused of treating her staff honestly pretty terribly. During a storm of fans sharing their uncomfortable moments with Jen, one woman accused the star of being rude to her drivers. The TikTok user revealed that her father once worked for a company that Jen would use to hire and provide drivers for her. The TikToker claimed that Jen does not allow the drivers to look at her, and that even if the driver looks through the rear view mirror, they weren't exempt from Jen's scolding. Not only that, but she refused to have her luggage ever touch the ground. Because of her diva temperament, she shared that her father refused to drive for J.Lo because of all the horror stories that he heard through the grapevine. J.Lo is no stranger to being called a diva, but not even being able to make eye contact really does seem a little bit extreme.
And coming in at number 1 today, we have too full of herself. There's confidence and then there's arrogance, and Jennifer Lopez has walked a dangerous tightrope between both categories for years. As the star even once declared in an interview with MovieLine that she herself is an A-list celebrity. When MovieLine then asked her why she was a hot property in Hollywood at the time, she then delivered an incredibly immodest answer by saying, "Because I'm the best." She said, "I feel I can do anything, any kind of role. I'm fearless." This kind of honesty is somewhat refreshing, but having too much belief in yourself and your own abilities will inevitably get under the skin of your colleagues and viewers alike. Lopez then claimed to have something called the stardom glow, but not everyone saw it that way. At the time of her career, even though it was 1998, it was a good year for the star, but she certainly fell out of favor with critics in 2003 when she landed the Worst Actress title at the Golden Raspberry Awards. And ever since, her career has had a bunch of ups and downs, and it seems like it gets worse whenever the actor lets all the fame go to her head.
Kicking off this list at number 10 is Miley Cyrus. If you followed her past relationship with Liam Hemsworth at all, then you probably remember the alleged love triangle between Miley, Liam, and Jennifer. That's not a triangle, that's a diamond. Rumors spread like wildfire when the Hunger Games first came out, with people suggesting that Jen and Liam had something between them off the big screen. For years, no one really knew if it was true or not, but then Jen confirmed it for fans in December of 2015. She went on Watch What Happens Live with Andy Cohen and admitted to making out with Liam off set. Andy asked her if they have ever kissed when the cameras weren't rolling, and Jennifer's response was, "Liam and I grew up together. Liam's real hot. What would would you have done? Yeah, I have. Reports say this is actually why Miley and Liam got back together after their first initial split, because Miley got jealous and thought she might lose him to Jen. Now, how much of this is true, we won't really know, but Jen confirmed that she and Liam had a little something something, and that is something I've always wondered personally. So glad it was confirmed. Up next, number 9 is Jared Leto. She had some sort of weird tension with the actor back in 2014, and it all came out at the Oscar Awards. She took the stage to present the award for Best Actor and called out someone in the audience by asking, "What, is this funny?" Turns out the mystery audience member was Jared Leto. He explained what happened later on and said that Ellen DeGeneres was on the sidelines making jokes that had him, his mom, and his brother all cracking up and laughing. When asked about if he felt bad interrupting Jennifer unintentionally, he made sarcastic comments like, "I guess we don't have any manners." To top it all off, he was then asked about Jen's famous fall when she tumbled up the stage to accept her award at the Oscars, and Jared responded by saying, "You know, I'm starting to wonder if this is a bit of an act." We're not sure what the tension is between them, but there is a lot of sarcasm between the two of them. They both just seem like very sarcastic people though, in general. Cruising into number 8 is Joan Rivers. Back in November 2013, Jen did an interview with the Yahoo CEO Marissa Mayer and was asked about body positivity. One man asked her a question on behalf of his daughter and said, "Having experienced body image criticism in Hollywood, what is your advice to young girls dealing with the same treatment from their peers and your response to those who judge others based on appearances?" Jen responded by saying, "Screw those people," and went on to call out Joan Rivers' show Fashion Police. She called out the show and said that shows like that are showing younger generations of young people to judge other people based on things like their appearance, and that it is wrong. Joan wasn't too impressed with her comment, and she took her thoughts to Twitter. Some of her tweets said, "It's funny how Jennifer Lawrence loved the show during awards season when we were complimenting her every single week. She actually even went on to make a joke about Jen's famous Oscar fall and said that she tripped over her own arrogance." Shots fired. Although I don't fully agree with that show either. You're literally judging someone on their appearance. That's the entire show. Making his way into number 7 is Spencer Pratt. Seems like a really random feud since they come from two totally different worlds, one being a Hollywood actor and another coming from MTV reality shows. But in 2017, she landed the cover of Vogue, and during her interview, she said that her house was flooded with crystals. She said when she first moved in, there were crystals everywhere, and she asked to get rid of them ASAP because she hates them. She said, "Please get rid of these. I don't want people to come over here and think I'm a crazy crystal person." This is where Spencer Pratt came in. He is one of those crazy crystal people, as she called them. After the Vogue interview was out, he went on the defensive and announced that he felt personally attacked by her comments. He did an interview with The Morning Breath and said, "She was talking about me in Vogue, like 100% I'm the crazy crystal person she's clowning, so I'll see her. We'll bump into each other at the Beverly Hills Hotel like I see all the A-listers and they run from me." Honestly, I don't think she was talking about you. I don't think she cares. Really? Like in the Vogue interview, I don't think she's thinking of Spencer Pratt. No offense. In spot number 6 is Chloe Sevigny. Now I know I probably said that wrong, so just forgive me and move on from it, okay? The actress didn't hold back when sharing her thoughts on Jennifer Lawrence and was honest about it during an interview in 2015. She sat down with V Magazine and asked if she ever worries about being typecast. After admitting that she does, she explained herself and said, "They'll have a really peppy funny girl on the talk show rounds and everybody adores her and loves her and wants to be her, and then so many more people want to watch the movie or TV show." She then went on to name a couple of A-listers who she admires and one that she could do without. That one? It's Jennifer Lawrence. Her exact words were, "Jennifer Lawrence I find annoying, too crass." We're not sure why she targeted Jen in the interview. No reports surfaced about them having any kind of tension towards one another, so it still remains a mystery. The amount of times I've been called annoying in my life, I just take it as a compliment at this point.
Halfway number 5, Anderson Cooper. So I'm pretty sure we all know about Jennifer's legendary fall at the 2013 Oscars while she was accepting the prestigious award for Best Actress. And after the shocking fall, many weren't sure if it was real or just faked for attention. One of those people was CNN host Anderson Cooper. On a podcast, Lawrence spoke of how she saw Cooper talking about it a few days later, and she was hurt by his remarks that the fall could have been fake. Quote, "It was so devastating because this was a horrific humiliation to me that took away, I don't know if I'll be able to have the chance to make a speech like that again. That didn't feel good for me not to have a speech." Apparently, Lawrence later confronted the host at a Christmas party, with a source saying that she was really fired up while confronting Anderson Cooper. But apparently they're all good, and Anderson sincerely apologized for his statement. And at number 4, Juan Pablo Fernandez-Feo. Jennifer Lawrence got massive backlash after she was rude to a reporter at the 2016 Golden Globes. After she accepted an award, she was in the press room answering questions. Then a Spanish reporter who was speaking with an accent started asking a question, but he was looking at his phone basically the whole time. Jennifer tried to joke around by telling the reporter to put his phone down if he wanted to ask her questions. She also mocked him after he mistook the event for the Oscars. After the event, hate flooded to Jennifer, and people figured the reporter was most likely translating from Spanish to English in order to ask her questions. It was wrong for Jennifer to assume that everyone there spoke English. Anne Hathaway ended up defending her and saying the reporter was actually recording Jennifer, so she had to write to call him out for it. But I mean, it definitely didn't make Jennifer Lawrence look good. And at number 3, Joan Rivers. The drama between these two happened in 2013, when Lawrence was being interviewed by Yahoo CEO Marissa Mayer. In one part of the interview, a fan asked Jennifer a question about body positivity. She answered by saying that she doesn't listen to criticism about her weight, then threw some shade, saying, quote, shows like Fashion Police and things like that are just showing these generations of young people to judge people based off things that they put values in all the things that are wrong, that it's okay to point at people and call them ugly or fat. As a response to Jennifer's shade, Joan Rivers tweeted out, quote, it's funny how Jennifer Lawrence loved the show during awards season when we were complimenting her every single week, with Joan adding that she tripped over her own arrogance at the Oscars. And at number 2, Jennifer Lawrence herself. Many people didn't like the side of Jennifer Lawrence that they saw after she clapped back at fans who were trying to defend her. Controversy in question was because she wore a stunning Versace gown on a London rooftop, while her male co-stars wore coats and pants because of the chilly weather. Many found it sexist that Jennifer was wearing an exposed dress in the cold while the men were dressed for the weather. And even though Jennifer is usually very quiet on social media, she wrote a long statement against those who started the controversy. She said in part, quote, the controversy is not only utterly ridiculous, I'm extremely offended. That Versace dress was fabulous. You think I'm gonna cover that gorgeous dress up with a coat and scarf? I was outside for 5 minutes. I would have stood in the snow for that dress because I love fashion, and that was my choice. She then continued to rant about how this activism is not feminism and people need to get a grip. And although she's allowed to share her opinions, many felt she was too hard on people who were just trying to support her. And finally, number 1, Jennifer Lopez. This last one comes from another very famous Jennifer, Jennifer Lopez. The feud started when Lawrence was on The Tonight Show with Jimmy Fallon, and Lawrence shared a story from the Met Ball. Apparently Jennifer Lawrence and Jimmy were very drunk and wanted to ask J-Lo to dance. Apparently they went over to her and she turned them down, with Lopez saying that she just wanted to observe. And even though the story was lighthearted, it still made J-Lo look kinda bad for saying no. So J-Lo decided to set the record straight, and she actually came out with her version of events. She told Access Hollywood, quote, I remember that we were at the Met Ball and Kanye was about to perform and it was like a crazy moment, and then they came over. And then she was like, let's go dance. And I was like, no, I'm good right here. But I didn't mean it like I don't want to dance with you. I just meant it like it's so crowded in here, let's stay right here. With her saying she would have loved to dance with Jennifer Lawrence. And I think this one can probably just be chalked up to miscommunication, honestly. So that's all for the list, guys. Let me know your thoughts below and let me know, do you like Jennifer Lawrence or do you think her persona is all an act? From what I see online, it seems like most people think her self-deprecating humor and quirky personality is all a persona to be more likable, and lately it seems not to be working. But I would love to hear your thoughts below.
What's up BTS? It's your host Michaela, and I'm here to break down the top 10 celebrities who refuse to work with Jennifer Lopez. But before we dive into the countdown, tell me in the comments below, what's your favorite J-Lo song? At number 10 we have Jennifer's dismissal of Bad Teacher actress Cameron Diaz when she made the comment that she believes Cameron is a quote, lucky model who's been given a lot of opportunities, and how she wishes she would have done more with them. In turn, Cameron made a statement that Jennifer's behavior on set was rather cold, as she pretty much ignored her. She also described Jennifer as being someone who was hard to work with. As a clapback, Cameron further pushed that J-Lo should stick to her day job of singing. However, in the same Jennifer interview, it wasn't just Cameron that she came for. She also took shots at fellow actresses Gwyneth Paltrow and Winona Ryder. For Gwyneth, Jennifer said, tell me what she's been in? I swear to God, I don't remember anything she was in. Some people get hot by association. I heard more about her and Brad Pitt than I ever heard about her work. On Winona, Jennifer recalled, I was never a big fan of hers. In Hollywood, she's revered. She gets nominated for Oscars, but I've never heard anyone in the public or among my friends say, oh, I love her. At number 9, we have radio show host and interviewer Howard Stern, whose reasonings for not liking J-Lo comes in many forms. For one, he hates her music. Howard's typical musical vibe is 90s rock and grunge rather than early 2000s pop. But not only does Howard not enjoy Jennifer's music, he's also bashed it in the form of jokes on numerous occasions despite his attraction to fairly few pop songs in the past. In summary, it was Howard Stern's show co-host Robin who made claims while they watched her on the floor music video that radio stations were hesitant to play the song since she hadn't been charting for a while. Apparently, to further this point, he described that the relevance of J-Lo being a judge on American Idol kind of forced the song down consumers' throats, and Howard later accused Jennifer of being self-absorbed because the single debuted on American Idol. Howard further bashed her Super Bowl performance and even ridiculed Jimmy Fallon's praises for it as well. There was also the incident where Howard claims he spent the entirety of his run-in with his friend Mark Anthony, who was married to Jennifer at the time, being completely ignored. This further pushed the established reputation of Jennifer being a snotty diva. Howard's last straw was Jennifer's interview, where she was asked if she found Howard attractive, and remained silent while expressing a puking expression. Since then, Howard has not let up on the insults about her attitude, music, and business choices whenever she's brought up on his show. At number 8, we have Gloria Estefan's shade to Jennifer for her halftime documentary spiel about performing with Shakira for the 2020 Super Bowl. When Gloria admitted she chose not to participate with no regrets, she blasted Jennifer's comments about their experience when she sat down with Andy Cohen on Watch What Happens Live in June. Quote, "Imagine what J-Lo would have said if I was third. I literally would come out, done, shake your booty, and out. It was their moment, plus I didn't want to go on a diet in December." This was in light of J-Lo's reaction to Shakira co-headlining the sports event. Benny Medina said in the film that it was insulting of the Super Bowl to request 2 Latina artists when one had already historically done the work. Yet Jennifer was the one who was upset about splitting her time on stage, stating that they only had 5 minutes to sing all their desired songs accurately. Quote, "We have to have our singing moments. This is the worst idea in the world to have 2 people do the Super Bowl." While Jennifer and Shakira communicated about their upcoming performance, Jennifer added, "They said 12 minutes. I got a good confirmation that we could have an extra minute or 2, so now we're at like 13-14 minutes. I think Shakira, what we should have is you should have half the time and I should. If it was going to be a double headliner, they should have given us 20 minutes. That's what they should have effing done." At number 7, we have singer Brandy, who was apparently picking sides when the Lopez-Carey feud was at its peak. Brandy had shared an Instagram photo of her embracing Mariah in 2017 with a short 3-word caption of #SheKnows Me. Brandy's followers were on her like water as soon as the post was uploaded, speculating that the caption had everything to do with Mariah's famously memed "I don't know her." In response, Brandy denied there being any drama, rearranging the captions and then say, "I swear I don't know what the fuss is about. I love this pic and everyone thinks I'm throwing shade. At who? This is funny. Can't take this one down. I love this picture. And whenever I'm throwing shade, it's not questionable. You know that I am." Brandy also continued unapologetically with, "I've met her several times like the several seats that should be taken. She does know me." And if things couldn't get any shadier, Mariah made sure to clear things up in Brandy's comments with a simple "I sure do." At number 6, we have J-Lo's first husband, Ohani Noah. Despite their marriage being short-lived and ending as of 1998, it seems Ohani still can't stand Miss Jenny from the block. Their 9-month marriage apparently wasn't all that great, as Ohani had been working hard to slander his ex-wife's name on a number of occasions. Back in 2006, Ohani published a tell-all titled The Unknown Truth, a passionate portrait of a serial thriller. J-Lo halted this project with a lawsuit and claimed that Ohani was breaking their confidentiality agreement. Jennifer won $545,000 in damages, and Ohani was given a court date which forbid him from criticizing, denigrating, casting in a negative light, or otherwise disparaging Jennifer. In the next 3 years, Ohani threw himself back into news outlets when he made threats to release a sexually suggestive video of Jennifer that was filmed during their honeymoon and resulted in another $10 million lawsuit. In 2016, his appearance on $1 Million Matchmaker saw Ohani claiming he loaded the blame on Jennifer for their split and how he was looking forward to spending a lifetime with her before she chose her career over him.
Number 5. Fans don't trust her. It's come to the point where Jennifer's fans can't even trust the actress anymore as she no longer appears to be authentic, as they think she tries to be one person in public and a completely different person behind closed doors. It's gotten to the point we all know she's putting on an act both on and off screen, and we're completely over it. And for Jennifer, this is definitely bad news, mostly because she has to rely on her fans to help her move forward with her movie career. And unfortunately for Jennifer, she doesn't really have a backup plan, as she once even admitted that she dropped out of school and that she doesn't even have a GED. With the actress dropping out of school at the age of 14 years old to become an actor because she never thought she was smart enough for school, even her parents would tell the star she was completely out of her mind. So when her acting career finally dries up, the actor may have to head to some adult classes, as she won't even be able to land a job at McDonald's, as most jobs now require you to have your high school degree degree or a GED. Number 4, her behavior during the Oscar season. During any Hollywood premiere, Jennifer loves to act a little like a complete goofball, to the point we've all stopped counting as we've seen it come from her way too many times. And it seems like Jennifer's behavior starts to get even more bizarre during camera interviews or when she's trying too hard to come off as funny and likable. But none of her moves have ever worked in her favor. In fact, it's actually turned off a lot of her fans, to the point all they can do is hope that eventually Jennifer will realize that she's being way too much and just start acting like herself again. But it seems like Jennifer just doesn't understand how she can do that. And if that wasn't enough, Jennifer once even admitted to being quite tipsy at a premiere of one of her movies. Not only was this very unprofessional, but it also had a lot of critics labeling her move as pretty dumb, as it's just common sense that you should never go to any job under the influence, and you certainly shouldn't go to a movie premiere absolutely trashed either. But apparently common sense just isn't a thing anymore. Number 3, ridiculous quotes. It seems like a lot of people simply just are over Jennifer Lawrence and her ridiculous quotes that she makes with her magazine interviews, as it seems like she just doesn't have a filter, or she just doesn't have a good publicist from stopping her from saying things like she says. Like, remember how Jennifer tried to get a plane full of people to chant "Fly Eagles Fly" after they won the NFL championship? With that moment being pretty embarrassing for the star, you would have thought that she would have learned from this mistake, but sadly she didn't, and she's still out here making a fool of herself from time to time. And someone just needs to stop her before she goes on to do a full interview basically just on fart jokes. Number 2, too much hype. So I think one of the major reasons Hollywood could be closing their door on Jennifer Lawrence is because she has so much hype when it comes to her and her career, especially in the beginning. Her rise to the top was very fast, and it resulted her crash to the bottom to be even faster. But that doesn't mean that there's no hope for the star in the future, as she does have the strength and the talent to pick herself up and to become a force in Hollywood that she is destined to be. However, with saying that, it isn't going to happen overnight, as the star has a lot of reflecting and learning to do. She needs to take this time away from her career to find new management, and more importantly, she needs to find a new way to build her public image. So all her fans can really do right now in the meantime is wait for the new and improved Jennifer Lawrence to arrive. But who knows how long that might take. And coming in at number 1 today, we have her love life. For the longest time, people have viewed Jennifer's love life to be a game to her, as people have alleged that Jennifer only seems to be dating more prominent men in Hollywood in the hopes that it will help her career. While we don't know if this is actually the case, it's not really hard to see why many fans and critics think this, as she seems to move around the industry dating directors and other actors, which could boost her career. With Jennifer making it no secret that her brain is always in panic mode and that she has a hard time focusing on her work and keeping things together, it's not really hard to see why the actor is more focused on her love life and everything going on around it. But I think it's going to be a while until we see Jennifer be casted in any Hollywood movie again, because it's just rumored that the star has been one of many major reasons why huge celebrity couples have split. And with Miley's new song Flowers hinting that the rumors surrounding Liam Hemsworth and Jennifer are very much in fact true, it might be a while until we see her on the big screen again.